Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Robert Phoenix here, and I am broadcasting to you live, albeit at a bit of a different time than I normally do. But there's just so much going on that I don't feel like I can really take a day off during these world-changing events that we're all going through simultaneously, albeit from a different perspective. But definitely something that want to be able to track and document, and also add some perspective to, and some illumination, as it were. And of course, if you are just waking up in a certain part of the world, you will know that Ghislaine Maxwell has been arrested, uh, supposedly, and that was in New Hampshire, of all places. So this morning, hey, Ian, what's going on? Hello, FUP. This morning, I was driving to my doctor's appointment, and I heard on the news, right? I heard on the news that Maxwell had been arrested. And so this was mind blowing. And I have some thoughts about this, which I'm going to share. Maybe we got Marie and Lils and Cheryl and Nancy. So I found out about this at around 8:45, roughly my time. Hi, Laura. And so I was like, wow, it's interesting. So while I was waiting to see the doctor, hey Frank, when I was waiting to see the doctor, it's just a foot doctor, not a big deal. Okay, so I started texting. I texted Masaki and Stephen. I think, did I text Stephen Chris? Maybe, but I started texting like everybody that I knew that Maxwell had been picked up. Now this is a very interesting development for a couple of different reasons. Obviously, she is the paramour and partner in crime with Jeffrey Epstein, and that Maxwell, Epstein, and the guy that ran Victoria's Secret, and a number of other people, Ehud Barak. And by the way, Ehud Barak is on very, very slippery territory. What's going on? Sean, I'm talking about the arrest of Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell, who was arrested this morning in New Hampshire. So there seems to be some very interesting stuff going on around the Epstein thing. Hi, Sherry. Good to see you. Let me do this. There's something really bizarre that happened last night, which may have gone unnoticed with a number of you. And it's a very unusual kind of timing piece. Very strange stuff. Now, some of you who live in New Mexico might have been aware of this, but timing is just very, very odd. And I'm not sure the two are connected. You know, maybe in the world of quantum entanglement they are, but let me see if I can find the actual, because I actually found the story. There was a statue of Jeffrey Epstein that showed up in downtown Albuquerque yesterday. This is really bizarre. This is so bizarre. No, you don't need to know my location. All right. Block. Hold on. Let me do this one thing. Turn my Wi-Fi off. Just go jack right in. So this is really, really strange. Let me show this to you. This showed up yesterday in downtown Albuquerque. And I'll just play the video. This is from a news station in Albuquerque. So check this out. So this happens yesterday. This is so weird. Oh. All right, hold on.
about this. Check out the photos. Viewers sent us these photos of a statue of Jeffrey Epstein, or what looked like a statue, someone put up in front of City Hall on the west side, either late Tuesday night or early this morning. The city took it down first thing today. Turns out it was actually a painted mannequin. Epstein had a huge ranch here in New Mexico. He was an American financier and convicted sex offender who was found hanging in his jail cell last August. Today, we asked the mayor about the Epstein mannequin at City Hall.
So I just heard about this on the way in, and actually, there's a lot of mystery. I personally actually didn't see it. Somebody mentioned it. I actually didn't even, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. So that's where I'm at right now.
So late this afternoon, we did get more answers. The city doesn't know who is responsible, but they are checking surveillance video. I asked city staff if this was illegal. They say no, but the person or people who did this did not have permission. Nancy Laughlin, KOAT Action.
Oh, they did not have. They did. They did not have permission. They did not. Oh, let me go back here. This is hilarious shit. Where am I? This is funny. I got to play the end of this thing, which I cut off a little bit too early. You got to hear this. This is funny. Check this out. This is so funny. All right, hold on. I got to do the whole thing again. Hold on. We hit the audio. This is really funny. All right. Oh, here we go. Okay, so listen to what this guy says. This is hilarious.
In the plaza are put up with approval and funding from the city's arts board. Well,
he said, sorry. So he said that statues are put up with approval from the city's arts board, right? But people can tear down statues without any kind of approval at all. The thing is weird. It's really, really weird. Very weird. Polly's reports were being tortured. Yeah, I'm going to play a little bit. I got Polly queued up. I'm not going to actually play the entire video, but I am going to play. I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to talk kind of over it just briefly. It's really important to watch. It's an important video, and she does really, really good work. And this might be one of the best things she's ever done, because what's interesting is that earlier, actually it was last week, I talked about this idea of the Manchurian Candidate and the psychological torture and reprogramming that was depicted in that movie, The Manchurian Candidate. And that what's happened is that they've created a whole cast of Manchurian candidates now using very similar techniques that were explored during the Manchurian Candidate, that movie. Polly comes right back and basically gets into the actual specific techniques of torture that are laid out by Amnesty International. So I am going to play a little bit of that. I'm not going to play the whole thing. In fact, I'm even going to talk over it, but it was something I had queued up today. I also am going to play much more, actually a longer piece is I'm going to play a video that Alex Jones did, and it gives you an idea and an understanding as to what's happening, not only in Texas, but all these states across the U.S., where the statistical analysis and data gathering with COVID-19 or Corona has been exposed. And it's been exposed in a way that it should make you very concerned about not only the process, but the lack of true transparency and the impact that it has on each and every one of us, including some of the stuff that Polly talks about. And not only in the interim portion of our experience now, as we sit here in limbo once again, but also where all this is headed. So welcome to the show. It's going to be a little bit late today. And but let me just say, old invocation, dear blessed and holy Father, Mother God, of the great central Sun, which is the universal light, which is the light of Yeshua, Sananda, Emmanuel. We ask that only the highest and best information come through during this time, through this channel. And during this time in our lives, we ask that courage, faith, heart, beauty, compassion, empathy, strength, flexibility, patience, wisdom, and humor are all parts of our daily experience. And if we have any karmic residue, let it be cleansed, purified, clarified, and removed from our life stream, our experience, so that we can re-enter our space as sovereign. So be it. All right, let's go. Let's tear it up. Let's get back to Ghislaine Maxwell. She was arrested this morning, theoretically again, and this was in New Hampshire. Why was she was in New Hampshire? I have no idea. I don't know. I have no idea. This is all very, very intriguing. But what was really bizarre, and again, I showed that to you, was that all of a sudden the statue of Jeffrey Epstein pops up right in front of City Hall in Albuquerque a day before. Some group kind of took responsibility for it, and it's like it's such a wild thing, right? People are tearing statues down, and now we're putting statues up. And this one is like Twilight Zone shit. It's Twilight Zone. But let's talk about the ramifications of what's happening. We know that Epstein. I don't believe Epstein is dead. By the way, I don't believe he's dead. I think he's been extracted. That was an extraction moment. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Maxwell. Now, the two are of course they're linked, but they represent two very, very different kinds of. They represent two different kinds of cases in some ways, because Jeffrey Epstein was well known. They had basically taken the evidence, and they had opened the case back up. It had been buried by, who was that guy? Jim Costa or Alex Costa? Alex Costa, the guy who was actually originally trying the case, moved into the Trump administration. There were deals that were made, and it was through agencies like the FBI. And Epstein basically was walking. They opened the case back up, and here's where it gets kind of strange. The guy who opens the case back up, it goes through the Miami Herald, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Ani will correct me if I'm wrong. And there's a reporter that goes through and starts to make this thing public. And these people they don't do that on their own. Reporters do not just start writing stories on their own. They're assigned a story. Or they will bring a story to an editor, and the editor will say, get on it. Or the editor will say, no, let's not go there right now. Let's go over here. And keep in mind that most editors of major newspapers in the United States are CIA operatives. Just remember that. Keep that in mind. Project Mockingbird. They control the media nodes. They place people in positions of being news directors, news editors on TV stations, cable stations, radio stations, in newspapers. So if that's the case, then whoever the editor is of the Miami Herald, probably connected, right? And they're saying, go do this. Go after this story. Like, go after the Epstein story. And there's a reason why. Because during that time, this is where it gets really, really odd. And I'm still trying to kind of wrap my head around this, but I have some ideas as to why this happened. The guy who's kind of instrumental on getting this thing rolling again is Alan Dershowitz. And Alan Dershowitz was working with, of all people, Mike Cernovich to get some of the discovery on that case opened up, which is why there was something to write about. Okay, if there's no discovery, there's nothing to write about. That's how it works. So as this stuff starts to happen, of course, there is a great deal of interest in Jeffrey Epstein as it begins to slowly be sort of come together, right? Like, okay, now we have evidence. We have we have a prior. We've got some agreements in place with some of the people who were involved, and there were agreements. And the agreements. This is where it gets very interesting now. Okay. The agreements that were made, and what's her name? Virginia Roberts, I believe. She talks about this. She talks about how the girls made agreements so that they would be taken care of in a civil suit, and that they would actually get compensation. But as part of the compensation, they would not be allowed to bear witness to anybody else that was associated with Epstein. So in a way, it indemnified Epstein, or I'm sorry, it indemnified the people that were surrounding him, because they wouldn't be able to use these people as witnesses of the state. They had signed those rights away in order to receive compensation. Now, the arrest of Ghislaine Maxwell raises some very interesting questions. If indeed that deal was made, and we know that it was, then what are they going to use, and who are they going to use in trial, a supposed trial with Ghislaine Maxwell? See, this is the interesting question, because everybody that was connected to Epstein that was part of that original suit signed their rights away. So there are two things here that are possible in that regard. One is that there are people that were not part of the civil suit who can be called as a witness. Two, they're looking at a very, very different group of witnesses in a very different group of, or a very different type of evidence, which may include money, sums of money, all kinds of stuff, right? So we don't know where and how they're going to build a case against her. We also don't know if this is going to be another extraction. But the thing that's different is that Epstein had been rolling. I mean, there was a lot of Epstein energy. It wasn't like he was in cryogenesis. Ghislaine Maxwell had, it would be kind of like, where's Waldo? Like, where's Ghislaine? And sort of like other things going on, right? We've got, COVID-19 or whatever. I'm going to talk about that today too. And of course, the terrible, absolutely terrible manipulation of the American people and the people of planet Earth, where we're being pitted against one another in ways that are just absolutely horrendous and barbaric. And I'm going to play you some video today, and it's some of the most shocking video you're going to see. There's no blood. There's no entrails. There's no violence. Well, there is some violence, but it's not egregious violence. But I'm going to show you a video today, and it's going to give you a real sober appraisal of where we are with being on this planet in the human species. If there's anything in doubt or in question. So the Maxwell piece is very interesting. Very interesting. Now let's connect a few dots. And Ellen's getting canceled. Looks like Oprah's been canceled. Tom Hanks, where's he? Steve Bing just jumped out of his penthouse apartment in LA, took a concrete cannonball. There's some very interesting things going on now. Very, very interesting things. Now, Maxwell, I think, is even more of the keystone than Epstein was. Because if you look at Maxwell's past, her father was a super spy. He was a triple agent. Robert Maxwell was working for MI6, the Mossad, and probably the KGB too. and he wound up face down next to his yacht called the Lady Ghislaine. And he was a super spy. His daughter was raised with being a spy. Here we go. True Note and Gemini, right? It's high spy time. It's really interesting too. If you go back and look at that TV series I Spy, with that whole period in the 60s, like Man from Uncle, James Bond, I Spy, Our Man Flint, the spy thing with Matt, the D. Martin guy, Matt, what is it? Matt, I'm talking about. Anyway, the whole spy thing was interesting. I should look at that. The spy thing was crazy. I loved it, by the way. I had one of those Man from Uncle suitcases. Anyway, I Spy, you remember the TV series starring Robert Culp and Bill Cosby, and they played spies. They were tennis players and they were spies. One guy was black, one guy was white, right? Like it's the whole Gemini thing going on. Total Gemini stuff with I Spy. Anyway, I digress just slightly. But she was born a spy. Born a spy. This is interesting. Now, I could see where if they wanted to, if there was too much heat on Epstein, and there kind of was, right? Because this case thing was going, and they needed to get him off the streets. They needed to put him in that cell. They needed to fake his death, which I believe they did, and literally extract him. That's what they did. That there was a plan all along. But the Maxwell piece is very interesting because there was no buzz. There was just no buzz. It was like we're off in another part of the universe now. So there was something happening, and now you begin to kind of put these dots together. And I'm not saying I'm fully on board the good Q lollipop, but it does feel like there's something else happening. There's something else going on. And this is going to be a very interesting development. Now, it could all be just for show, and it could all just be for some kind of demonstration, and they'll do what they did with Epstein, and, that's the way it is. Or maybe she's a clone. I mean, the world we live in, the universe we live in now. But the thing is, right? The thing is that there was no smoke there. There just wasn't any smoke. And if there's smoke, you want to deal with the smoke. There was no smoke there. So something is up. Something is up. And then there's that weird appearance of the statue of Jeffrey Epstein in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And of course, he had his ranch down in Albuquerque. These are very, very interesting events. Super interesting events as we head into the 4th of July weekend, which will be, I'm sure, an epic story in and of itself. Okay, so we've covered the Ghislaine Maxwell piece about as much as we can. Let me check in with you guys. And unfortunately, I may have to go dark for a second. All right, I'm stepping on space time. I got to refresh the browser so I can keep up with your comments. Here we go. Okay, I'm back. Yeah. I just had to. The eclipse is on the 5th. Late on the 4th, moving into the 5th. Okay. Late 4th, early 5th. We'll see you on Friday. Mary, you can always watch the replay. Yep. Always watch replay. All right. So, interesting times. Very, 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 very interesting times. The wild card. The Maxwell event is the wild card. It's also interesting, too, that there was, the TV show, Get Smart with Maxwell Smart. That's if there are some episodes inside of Get Smart where they're doing a little hidden in plain sight stuff. The same guy who created Get Smart also created I Spy. His name was Sheldon. Sheldon Leonard? Sheldon Leonard. Anyway, I had a mask experience yesterday. I should tell you guys, but maybe I should try and send it to you. Let me see if I can send it to you. It's not really here. It's a little foggy. I'll tell you the mask experience. I had 2 mask experiences in the last 24 hours. So yesterday I decided to go to HEB. Now I have not been to HEB since since the big mask mandate. Not been there. I decided to go. And I decided to go because I wanted to see what the mask situation was like. Okay. Who's wearing them? Who's not wearing them? But I decided to do a little bit different. I decided to have a different kind of mask. So I wound up putting on Mr. Big Head Cat, who stands in for me every now and then. You know who I'm talking about, right? I decided that I was going to wear the giant cat head as my mask. And I actually videotaped a little bit on my phone. It's a little foggy. I'm not going to show it to you, but I will share with you what happened. So I walk in with my big cat head and nobody says anything. It's a mask. And so I did it. Yeah, I did it. So I went in there and I did it. Shopping away. And I will tell you something. I was the hit of HEB last night. I was the hit of HEB. You know why I was the hit? People loved it. They loved it. They loved it. This one guy turns in the aisle, mask and all, looks at me, fist pumps me. He fist pumps me. He loves the mask. And I'm, going down the aisle, and this woman says, I like your mask. And I said, hey, I like yours too. Right? So I got all my stuff and checked out. And it was like, I'd never had any contact. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a whole thing with it. I'm going to do a whole thing with the mask stuff, with the big head. I'd gone in there numerous times without oh, somebody just entered this live. What the fuck, out of nowhere? You be beamed in, man. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Let's do this. Hold on. We can do this. Hey, Annie, get the wrench out. Get the wrench out. We got some wrenchers. Get the wrench out. There we go. See you later. There you go. Set, behave yourself. You can hang out. If not, you're gone. We don't put up with any shit in here. Okay. So anyway, they loving the big cat head. They love it. And I gone through like that store many times with no mask on, had no interaction with any of them. And I put the cat head on, and all of a sudden, I'm a celebrity. And I'll just show you. I'm a freaking celebrity. Here it is. I think this is the one. Here I am. You can't really see. With the cat head, right? At HEB. See me in the aisle right there. This is where she says, I like your mask. I like your mask. Anyway, I'll do a little extended player. So they were into it. They were totally into it. It humanized their mask situation. It was like they were waiting for I don't know what they were waiting for. But all of a sudden their shopping experience was like Disneyland. I don't know. It was weird. I'm going to do it again, though. I'm definitely going to do it again. Yeah. So, yeah. Now, this morning I went to a different, I went a whole different trip. I went to go to a podiatrist. And I walked in there, and the woman wanted to put a mask on me at the clinic and put a, the temperature thing. And I said, yeah, I'm not wearing a mask. And they said, well, why not? I said, I have asthma. I can't wear a mask. And that was it. Walked in, registered. When I registered, people didn't blink. Sat down, met with the doctor. So I'm surprised to let you without a mask. I said, well, I have asthma. He said, do you take medication? I said, no, it's not always that bad. But I don't want to challenge my breath. Right? So even then, I was like, I'm not wearing a mask. And I may push the boundary at HEB, but there was 100% mask immersion at HEB. 100%. I do have asthma. It's true. I found out in my 20s. Didn't know it until my 20s. Anyway, there are the mask stories for you, and I will do a extended version of Mr. Cat Bighead at HEB. And it was funny, man. It was totally funny. All right, let's get to it. Let's a little bit of humor there. It's none of your business if you take medication. Yeah, I know. I know it's not any of their business. But it allowed me to just go right in there and get treatment. I didn't wear a freaking mask. The mask is about mind control. The mask has become the mark of the beast. It's really a precursor to the mark of the beast. They're entraining you to take the mark of the beast. That's what they're doing. The whole thing's about entrainment. You notice I got to be 6 feet apart. 6 feet apart. Like 6 feet under. All right, let's get to this. I'm going to play you Polly's. I'm going to play Polly's stuff. And I got a lot to play, actually. I'm going to play Polly's. But I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm going to talk over it because you really should watch it. And it's her show. Actually, it's my show, not her show. And you could obviously go to her YouTube channel, and I'm sure many of you have. So, but I am going to just play over this thing, but I'm going to describe it just a little bit. So, whoops, that's not it. Let's do this. Six foot equals 60, 60, 666. Because a foot is 2 times 6 plus 6 apart. Nice catch. Nice catch, gentlemen. Good catch. All right. Okay, so let's I'm just going to play this and sort of talk over Polly a little bit. But I did want to show it here because I think it's a very, very important video. And what she's talking about is torture, the idea of torture. And in her inimitable style, and quite good, she looks at the psychological operation of torture that's been used by the Chinese, which, by the way, is more psychological than it is physical. Now, there is some physical torture, or certainly physical discomfort, that's part of the torture program, but it does not end with physical discomfort. It is psychological and emotional discomfort. And one of the things that she talks about is the breaking down of the individual to the point where they want to give up. But every time they get to a point of wanting to give up. What they wind up doing is bringing them back just slightly from the complete and utter surrender of their being to the cul-de-sac moment of their experience. And so they'll reward people, like they'll give them something, they'll give them alcohol or a stipend, some free money or whatever, right? So they're very good at creating a sense of learned dependence. But in order to get there, they have to be able to break people down to the point where they need their captors. They need their captors. And their captors will ultimately define the terms and conditions of the world that they will be living in, not only in that moment, but moving forward. So she uses the Amnesty International report on torture. And she goes through this, right? To go through this, all of this. Finally, torture implies a systematic activity with a rational purpose. And if you can really view this video clearly with your third eye wide open, you'll be able to understand what she's really trying to put together. And it's right there. It's all out in the open. We are being tortured on a mass level. It's exactly what's happening on a mass level. In wide use today as a political weapon is intended to be a deterrent to others as well as a victim. So they want to close the exits. I'm going to block off all the exits. They want to be able to give you no sense of freedom or hope, and that the only chance of hope or freedom lies with them and through them. That some form of deliverance will be adjudicated, administered by the people that are creating conditions that they're experiencing or we're experiencing. It's a very good video. I highly recommend it. It's 43 minutes of your life, but it's a video that should be passed around and shared for people who are open to see what's really taking place. Because that's exactly what's happening. We are being moved into a state of perpetual torture. And just when we think we're about to be delivered, right? We're about deliverance, and that's going to happen. What happens? We have all these cases now. Oh my God, more cases than ever. Cases. Shut it down. And what do you think is happening with people? Right? They're like, oh shit, we got to go through this again. Oh no, I had a lot of anxiety last time. I was starting to get rid of it. Now here it comes. And it is a typhoon of anxiety, a monsoon of anxiety. It's not just a brief storm, but it is this thing, and it's ongoing, and it is not good. Not good. And she makes a point that, again, this is what I've been saying, is they want to basically end this system. Okay, this is the story. This is it. This is the algorithm. They want to end this system. And they have another system that they want to put in place. And they're doing everything in their power now. And it's not just what Polly's talking about. The supply chain is broken. And or they're not producing anything. And or they're not delivering anything. And I've been tracking the car market. And I saw a post of a guy that works at a very large dealership. Extremely large dealership. And like regional dealership. Said they got 30 days worth of cars on hand. 30 days worth of cars. You know why that is? They don't want people driving cars. The other thing that I find, they're gonna take those away. That's not part of the new paradigm. Not part of the new paradigm. The other thing that I found really interesting is that gas was at about $1.55 a gallon. Okay. $1.55 a gallon here. Now it's at $1.89. I can live with $1.89. Trust me. I'm from California. $1.89 is still like, really cheap. But I've noticed that, like, for instance, HEB has a gas station, and they're always lower than everybody else. That's not the case. Every single gas station is at the same price, just about. The ones that are closer to the freeway obviously are more expensive because of the location. But it's the same price now. $1.89. Probably going to be $1.91, $1.92 coming up, right? So now there's this uniformity with the gas price here, which is very odd. It's a very odd kind of uniformity. It's like, because there would be stations competing. Now, trust me, right? If we're all, locked at home, we can't go to the water parks or anything like that, then theoretically, why would gas be so high? Or why would it be 45 to 50 cents higher than it was only 6 weeks ago when we were actually traveling? Maybe the prices will adjust again and they'll go back down, but I don't think so. I don't think it's going to happen. And I think that at some point that getting gasoline is going to be very difficult. Very, very difficult. Maybe when Neptune goes retrograde. And when gasoline gets to be difficult, they won't need checkpoints. They won't need to have people, quarantined or in a lockdown, because as we've seen, what happens is that the external conditions will determine what you can and cannot do. This is how they change the game. The external conditions will determine what you can and cannot do. And they may have everything. They may have plenty of gas, but if it doesn't get to the gas station, they decide to stop refining it, which is all very much part of this plan. They're moving us right into Agenda 21 land, and they're not asking any of us. You want to say, hey, you want to go into? And see, this is the bullshit part. That this is where they want their pound of flesh. They want their nice big slurp-a-loosh, because they could say look, we're going to come right out and tell you, okay, we're going to come right out and tell you, the bank is broken, the money system is broken, it's broken, and we have to do something different. And you may not like it, but let's just all be adult about it. We got to do something different. We've got to restart this economy. It's got to be a different kind of economy, because a bunch of other people scammed that economy, and we're going to let them go. But we got to do something different now, and this is the plan. This is how it's going to look. Okay, moving forward, this is how it's going to look, and this is the way it is. And you could say they're kind of doing it like with the World Economic Forum. They're using the coronavirus or the COVID excuse to reboot the world, but they're not going to tell you that until 2021, when half the planet's been burned to the ground, probably at that point. But it's like, just fucking tell us. Just tell us. It's bullshit. Just tell us. We're, theoretically we're adults. And the problem is they don't want to tell us because they know that we won't like it. That's the problem. They know that we won't like it. Okay, if we don't like it, well, why don't you make a model that is somewhat similar to what you want and yet somehow gives us a little perk? No, because that's not how the game works. And we know this. I'm just being rational. And we're not living in it's about dominance, power, and control. And what they want to do is they want to make it look benevolent, feel benevolent, and always for the greater good. Polly talks about that, by the way. Yes, you're totally right. They're totally right. Chatlandia, try to buy a bike anywhere in this country. I took care of that last year. And if you have a bike, you should be getting inner tubes and tires. If you have a car, you should be getting parts. Seriously. And the unfortunate thing is most cars, like if you have a car that's probably post 1995, forget about it. It's almost worthless. I mean, now let's go post 2002. I got a 2001, and I could probably still work on my engine if I needed to. But the way that they constructed cars, forget it. Forget it. You've got to go to a shop, and they got to put the meter on it, and they got to pull the blocks apart, and forget it. Forget it. If you want to get a car, okay. Let's talk a little shit hits the fan. If you want to get a car that you could be using theoretically, number one, you want to get a diesel and you want to convert it to biodiesel. And you want to get something like I don't know, 1989. And you might have a chance. And there are a lot of old Mercedes, and there's some older trucks that are made during that time. If you can find one, get it. Because you don't deal with the same kind of electronics that you do with a petroleum engine. But even used stuff is getting harder to find too. So here we are. They're basically cutting everything off. They're cutting off the exits. I'm sure we're going to be dealing with food at some point. Sure, we'll be dealing with food rations. Now, probably a number of you watch and or know of Celeste Solum, who's an interesting character. Apparently used to work for FEMA. Now, there's some interesting questions about Celeste Solum. When you leave a department like FEMA, you usually sign a non-disclosure, especially if she had a position that was somewhat elevated, but she was higher on the food chain. So you have to take what she says with a grain of salt, right? You have to take with a grain of salt. But when she rolls her videos out, they are terrifying. They're terrifying. If you think the Silent Weapons for a Quiet War lady is dark, you watch Celeste Solum. Just watch her. So she's talking about. Pay attention to this, okay? She says that there are going to be food shortages, and they're going to start to close the main shopping centers down, the main grocery stores down. And you will have to go to a place like Walmart or Costco to get your food. They will be the designated places to get your food. And what will happen is once you're there, they'll put you on a bus and off you go. Okay. So is this fictitious? Is she breaking her contract for NDA with FEMA? She's spreading darkness. I'm just telling you what her video talks about. We've had Jade Helm here. We've all read the stories about Walmart, what's underneath Walmart. I mean, so these are things you need to think about. And you should be thinking about them like now versus, a month from now. There's still time. There's still food on the shelves. If you have to put a mask on, right? There are things that you need. I suggest you get them because it's better to have them than not have them. And even things like tanks of propane and stuff like that, those are important just in case you need to cook on a grill or, because, that can go too. You can be really SOL, right? So just, again, I'm not here to spread fear. But I am here to put the high beams on and make sure that you guys know and are aware of what's happening to the best of my ability. And, we do it physically, spiritually, psychologically, emotionally, across as many spectra as possible. All right. So what I want to do now is I want to play you pretty much in its entirety because it's really worth seeing. And again, some of you have probably seen the video, but I'm going to play it anyway. And this is Alex Jones and Rob Dew. And what I'm going to break the video down for them is that what they got some information. They actually got a video feed from Collin County. Now, Collin County is Frisco, Texas, one of the fastest growing regions in Texas, one of the fastest growing regions in the United States. They're bringing lots of refugees into Collin County, Frisco. So they're changing the character, the complexion, the demographics of that area very intensely, and have been. They've been working on it for a while. A lot in most of Texas. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about this video. So I'm going to play the video, and what you will see is how they are now counting COVID cases. You will see how they have found a way to essentially explode the algorithm. And that's what they're doing here. That's what they're doing in Florida. That's what they're doing in Arizona. This is coming down from the NIH, and this is the model that everybody is following. Okay, here we go. Let's rock this thing. You're gonna see the whole thing. It's about 15 minutes. Just keep your eyes on it. Okay, here we go. All right, where are we? Hold on. All right, here it is. Got it. All right. Take it away, AJ. Here we go.
Epidemic of new cases.
Oh, let me rewind this thing. I queued up and it winds up playing when I queue it up. I don't know why. Okay, take two. Here we go. Collin County, May 18th, Commissioner's Court. Pay attention.
Definition for COVID-19 probable cases.
So for confirmed case, it stays the same. You still just need PCR, but now they've added a probable case. So that still gets counted towards the case count. It's different. It's not confirmed. It's probable, but it's still a case. So at the end of this definition, there are 15 different options on how you could be classified as a probable case. Based on this diagram and what they report, there's a total of 17 cases now. One is still only confirmed because that was that original index case who then had all these contacts underneath in orange. And all the rest of them became probable, but they are still considered a case.
This has the potential to be a very significant event for us here in Texas and here in Collin County, as the state now has elected to adopt this new probable definition. If you have a subjective fever and you have a headache and you live in Collin County, you now meet the qualifications to be a probable COVID patient. It is remarkable how low the standard is now. If you have one of the major symptoms, you have a cough or you have shortness of breath, and you live in Collin County, then you can satisfy the definition for a probable COVID case. But I'm very concerned that we absolutely could see the numbers jump very rapidly in a way that actually is not indicative of what we're seeing here in the community in the public health department.
The clips you just saw took place on May 18th of this year, just a few weeks ago. Now, we were contacted by a whistleblower inside the state health department at a high level a few weeks ago about the big changes that were coming. Separately, another whistleblower contacted us with the video you just saw and more we're about to play. But this is complete proof that the COVID-19 testing regime and the definitions they semantically use from the NIH and CDC are frauds. This has been confirmed. If one person tests positive for COVID-19, 15 people in the computer model are then said to have it. So possibles are now defined as of the middle of May as COVID cases. But it gets worse. They go on to say that they're going to say it's COVID-19 even if someone's not been tested. And if someone dies without a test, they're going to say it's COVID-19.
And let's say the virus caused you to go to the ICU and then have a heart or kidney problem. Some countries are recording that as a heart issue or a kidney issue and not a COVID-19 death. Right now, we're still recording it, and the great thing about having forms that come in and a form that has the ability to mark it as COVID-19 infection, the intent is right now that if someone dies with COVID-19, we are counting that as a COVID-19 death.
But this is bigger than that. This is the NIH directing the states to say that if one person tests positive in a questionable test, that 15 others are positive as well. So we're going to go through these clips. We're going to link where you can see hours of this at the end of the video for yourself, because we don't just have the documents from the state health department. We actually had a county going over this last month and breaking it down and asking the question. This is going to create a lot of new false cases. Rob News, the InfoWars news director, he's been following this for weeks. We're ready to break this right now.
Yeah, that prophetic statement was made by Chris Hill, the county judge. Basically, he said, wow, with all these new parameters we're using to create COVID cases, they're using the word case very specifically, that we can have these inflated numbers. So it used to be if you tested positive for COVID-19, that was one case. Now, if you have one case, they also look around it and see who you've been in contact with, and they say, okay, these are probable cases. These go into the caseload. And they use a lot of different parameters that we're going to go over just in 1 second. But one case could equal 17 cases, could equal 10 cases, could equal 20 cases. It doesn't matter. All it looks at is the word probable, and they add probable into the caseload. And now you've seen since May 18th, when these were implemented in Texas, the numbers skyrocket.
And they confirm that if they say probable, that's now called a case. So this is lawyer semantics. We've confirmed other states are following this same directive, so they can turn the cases up or turn them down. The bureaucrats can whenever they want.
That's right. So let's go into these clips. We have clip 1. This is where they talk about the case definitions being revised. Here it is.
State of Texas, DSHS has informed public health departments that they have adopted a revised definition for COVID-19 probable cases. Probable case definition was adopted by the Council of State and Territorial Epidemiologists back in early April 4th or 5th. They adopted this, they sent it to the CDC, and the CDC did take that recommendation and adopt it and send it out to the various states.
Now we're going to look at the new case definitions. So this adds confirmed cases with probable cases. Here it is.
So for confirmed case, it stays the same. You still just need PCR. And now they've added a probable case definition. So that still gets counted towards the case count. It's different. It's not confirmed. It's probable, but it's still a case. Meaning if you use another testing method, not PCR, and if you have close contact with a confirmed or probable case, and if you did that lab work that was not a PCR, you could be considered a case with or without symptoms.
Probable plus confirmed equals case, and they admit the two are added together in the guidelines put out by the feds. And let's remember, Dr. Ron Paul has come out today and said, this is the hoax. They're counting people that aren't positive with false tests, but it's beyond that. They then use the false test to say, on average, 15 extra people have it. And then Elon Musk, who's a major engineer, majorly dialed in, he's come out and said it's all a giant hoax using false testing, but it's beyond that. They then use the models to claim probable cases, which again, the state of Texas had passed a law agreeing with the federal regulations a few weeks ago, saying that a probable case is the case.
Exactly. And now, here's an aside on this too. The new death requirements, you don't even have to be tested. You could be dead. If you haven't been tested for COVID, you could still have been around somebody with COVID, be a probable case, and be counted as a COVID death. Here's that clip.
They also updated the definition for deaths related to COVID-19. Previously, prior to this definition, it was only if you had a positive PCR result that you would be counted as someone who died related to COVID-19. Now that lab testing is no longer required to be counted towards that.
All right, now we're going to go to Aisha. She's the health department worker who works in epidemiology. It's about 2 minutes, and she goes into how we have a confirmed case, but here are these other things that we can add to it that make probable cases. So basically, if you sneeze and live in Collin County, you could be considered a probable case under these new guidelines. Here it is.
So if you do the FDA-approved testing, which right now is serology, looking for antibodies, IgG, IgM, you have to have the clinical criteria. And if you don't have that, and then you have the EpiLink, then you could still be counted as a case. So if we look at the yellow box here, that's the approved testing, right? If yellow, you have the test, and then you have any of the blue, you're a probable case. If you're yellow and you have any other close contact, which doesn't mean you're sick, you're a probable case. And then if you don't do any of that lab work, and then you get sick and you were a contact of a case, you are then counted as a probable case. You have to be a close contact of someone who's a confirmed case of COVID-19 or a probable case, or you came to a location where it's endemic. Right now, Texas has stated that they are considering the state as an endemic area. So that means if I just went and got serology testing done with no symptoms and I was positive, whether it's saying that recent infection or current infection, my new antibodies, or it's like I've had them for a while, I would be counted as a probable case. So basically, these 3 boxes, you can be yellow and blue without green to be counted as probable, yellow and green without the blue, and then blue and green without the yellow. But for the blue and green, if you had contact, that has to be within 14 days. So let's say activity dies down, slows down, and we're not considered endemic, then we need that 14 days. But right now, that 14 days doesn't matter. Moving forward, it may, when activity slows down. So at the end of this definition, there are 15 different options on how you can be classified as a probable case. So that same scenario, a little bit more extended. Now, if we look at it with the new probable case definition, where some individuals had the FDA-approved testing of IgM, IgG, some individuals just had contact with someone who is classified as a COVID case, whether they are confirmed or probable. So at the end of this, based on this diagram and what they report, there's a total of 17 cases now. 1 is still only confirmed because that was that original index case who then had all these contacts underneath in orange. And all the rest of them became probable, but they are still considered a case.
I'm going to stop that right there. You guys get the drift, right? You guys get the drift. Those are some sneaky motherfuckers. Those are some sneaky motherfuckers. They said, okay, well, we're going to do this next round. This next round is going to be all about probable cases because, all right, I'm going to give you some real intel here. Okay. Here's some real intel. My mother, who you're going to meet today, due to popular demand, my mother is 82 years old. She lives in a retirement community. She goes to a church. Well, she did before they shut it down, but she knows people. She has a network of people that she's talking with constantly. She's always sending emails while I'm here. While she's here. She doesn't know one person that's either been in the hospital, right? Haven't even been in the hospital, let alone die. She doesn't know one person, and that's through all these other like channels. Just wrap your head around that for a moment. The most vulnerable group, she doesn't know anybody that knows anybody that's gotten coronavirus, been hospitalized, or died. Now, I'm not saying that there haven't been people that have gotten sick. What we're dealing with, I think here is something very different. And I forget who it was. They were on the comments the other day, and they were talking about fungal overgrowth. And I think this is a big piece of what we're dealing with here. Like there was a fungal element to this thing. Mold, spores, fungal, right? It's getting into, the lungs. And that's where people get really fucked up. So I think there's a there, but it's not the there that they want to be there and are making damn sure that we agree that the there is there. So now the question is, what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? Well, I think it's a case-by-case basis, place-by-place basis, person-by-person basis. I'm going to leave the link to that Alex Jones video. See, I mean, look, Alex has really taken a lot of heat, and in some ways he deserved it. In other ways, I don't think so. Two sides every story, but you can share that link. It's worth sharing for sure. And then you can also share now for your other people. Now you got to share appropriately with that poly video, because that's like a deep red. That's a deep red pill, that video. But it's important. It's really important. So let's bring it all together now. I'm going to show you a few other things, and we're going to get on out of here. We started off with coronavirus crippling the Western world, bringing the United States economy and even the spirit of the country to its knees. Think about that. To a stop, to a halt, not quite to its knees yet, because this is a country that fights. We have a lot of spirit here. A lot has been taken out of us, whipped out of us. There's a lot of demoralized people out there, but there's still a lot of spirit here. So as we're beginning to cascade out of that event, right? We're segueing out of that event, and now we have the Floyd event, and then that is a brutal event. Let me tell you, because we're just getting ready to move back into the so-called world, and no, you're not going to go back out there. And if you do, guess what's going to happen? We have unleashed the NPCs, and they will tear you limb from limb, or at the very least, they'll accuse you of being a racist. And if you push back on that, then there are going to be repercussions. So we've already been truncated, right? We've already been kind of put into a bound position with Corona. Now we get put into another bound position because we can't speak our mind, we can't speak our truth for fear of reprisal, recrimination, judgment. Now that was a hot event, right? And when you get hot events, they burn fast, they burn hot, and then they burn out. And I knew it was coming. Like, this shit has been easy. It's been easy. As soon as I saw like the Ahmaud Arbery video, I'm like, okay, I know where this is going next. I know the next stage. That was easy. That was easy. After that happened, even before it happened, Mercury retrograde. Are they going to get us back into our houses? They're going to bring the corona back. That was easy. Now the next piece may not be as easy, because I think the next piece comes from left field. I think it comes from left field. I think that there is a something major is coming, and it'll be something that, is it going to be the UFO thing? I don't know, but it's going to be something. It won't be another iteration of the Floyd event, although that'll be lurking in the background. That's a background program. The Corona thing still has some wheels right now. It still has some wheels, at least this new version of it. But it depends on how people feel about it and push back on it. Everybody at HEB, 100% mass saturation at HEB. I went into 4 other businesses, though, without a mask yesterday. And the reason I wore the big cat head, I wanted to go undercover. I just wanted to check out the mask thing without but it was a totally different experience. Anyway, but this is how do we respond now? Are we just, hello? Are we just going to basically do what we're told? do what we're told. Is that it? Is that what's going to happen? That milligram experiment? I don't know. We're new uncharted territory. And so once we figure out kind of like how we're going to moving forward, and there will be a movement moving forward, just as we're about to do that, the next thing's going to happen. The next thing will happen. And I would assume that they're doing this kind of like this model now. And let's look at the beginning of COVID. It was shocking when we looked at those videos from China and stuff like that. It was shocking. So there's a shock factor involved. And then there's all the stories of the cruise ships. So it's shocking, and a lot of this is in one's imagination, which in many cases is even more powerful than the real thing. But it was shocking. And then what did they do? Well, we're going to decrease the shock factor, and we're going to put you in your homes, and we're going to give you a little money, and we're going to make sure that you have ice cream and booze and whatever, so you can, take care of business. You can numb your pain. And then there's the Floyd event, which is shocking, and everything that unfolds out of that, shocking. And then it's like, go back, put the mask on, even though the fires of the Floyd thing are still kind of burning, put the mask on, wear the mask, stay home. So we have shock, and then we have kind of retreat, right? And then program via the retreat, because you can't do anything else. You can't watch any sports. You can't go to work. You can't go to the water park. You've just got to stay home and watch the TV and take your programming like a good little fucking robot. But then once you get out of that, then it's another shock level. You see? So the next event will be shocking. And I think it's part of this torture model that Polly's talking about. Shock, repose, shock, repose, shock. And each shock gets bigger. Because the Chinese stuff was kind of shocking, but it was in China. The cruise ship stuff was kind of shocking. Cruise ship. But George Floyd, post George Floyd, that shit was shocking. So you said the shock level's gone here, here, and here. The next one will be here. And I'm going to have to pontificate it. And I'm going to have to think about it, because usually what happens is it's really a left field event, and they resurrect the Black Lives Matter. They brought Black Lives Matter back, and now it's become this political force, and we know the story about that. Okay, so I want to play you 2 more videos. Actually 3. The third I'm going to play you're going to love. It's very, very hokey, but very sweet, and we need a little hokey sweet. Okay, so I'm going to play you 2 videos, and they're both kind of shocking in their own way. So the first video I'm going to play you has to do with the police, so-called police force. And we believe they're the police force because, well, they're dressed like police. Doesn't always mean that they are police, but they're dressed like police. And this is in Toronto, if I'm not mistaken, Ontario. And it is during sort of the height of the so-called protests. I want you to pay close attention, because you'll understand that what's going on is very, very deep. And it includes the law enforcement agencies. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Here we go. All right, this is in Toronto for our friends up in the Great White North. In case you missed it, wrap your head around this. These cops are stacking bricks, and they're busted.
That's not cleaning up. You're putting rocks over there on purpose. Why are you putting them right there, though? Because you know people are going to be at Nathan Phillips Square. You shouldn't be putting rocks right there. That's on purpose. That's on purpose. You're putting rocks over there on purpose, right there. You shouldn't be putting rocks over there. If the city's going to come clean that up, it's not your job. It's not your job. I work for the city, so it's not your job to put rocks over there. You're doing that on purpose. Bullshit. Yo, wow. Look at this. I can't believe this. Honestly, this is sad. You guys are Canadian. You guys are doing this. This is sad, man. This is really sad. On purpose, right there in the middle of the street. You're honestly putting rocks over there? Come on, miss. Come on, miss. Have some heart. Have some heart, miss. You're not cleaning it up. You're putting that on purpose. Let's be real. I'm not here harassing you guys. I'm being very respectful. But you're doing that on purpose. Let's be real. You're not even, come on, man. Please, I'm begging you. The city's coming. What do you mean the city's coming? This is not your job. Let's be real, guys. Come on. This is not your job. This is not your job. You're putting rocks over there on purpose. Oh my God. Hey. Like, wow. 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 This is a disgrace, man. This is supposed to be Canada. This is a disgrace. It's a disgrace, officers. Come on, man. In plain sight, daylight, to make it seem like everything is okay. Look at that. They put rocks right there on purpose. On purpose. And they're saying the city's going to come clean it up. That's bullshit, man. Come on. There's nobody going to come clean that up. I live right here. Nobody's going to come clean that up. Nobody. Because it's not your job. It's not your job. You're not cleaning the city. That's on purpose. Because you know the crowd's going to come here. Come on, miss. Come on, sir. This is disrespectful. It's inhumane. It's inhumane. Come on, man. I don't trust these police. I'm gonna step back. I don't trust these guys, man. They put rocks right here in Toronto, in Canada. Oh, I'm angry. Oh. But I'm gonna keep my cool. I'm gonna keep my cool. This is on purpose. Here, take a look. And she's gonna go on her phone right now and say that the city's gonna come clean it up. What is this nonsense? What is this on purpose? This does not make sense. How is the city supposed to come clean this up when they can pick it up from right there? Right there. You pick that up from that, right behind the bench, right there. Wow. Wow. Yo. Wow. Oh, can I ask you something? Can I clean it up? I can clean it up, right? Is that okay? Can I clean it up? I'm gonna put it in the garbage. That's what I'm gonna put it. Can I clean it? And can I clean it and give it to them? Can I do that? That's okay? Oh, I can wait. I don't mind. I live right here. I don't mind. Oh, wait. Can I do that? Can I get these rocks off the street? Can I do that? I'm gonna put them in the garbage. Is that okay? Yes, please. Yeah, can we do that? Thank you. This is not cool. But thank you for being. This ain't cool, man. If we can put that in. That's why we're trying our yeah, but you can't put it there. Come on, sir. You can't do that. You know the crowd's gonna pass here. You know that. You and I both know that. They're gonna pass here. All right, let's put it in the garbage. Let's do that. Right in there. Let's do that. Thank you. It's not happening here. No way. This is not gonna happen in Canada. Not in Toronto, man. No way. All
right, I'm going to stop this. Do you guys think Do you think that those cops were putting those rocks there on purpose? What do you think? What do you guys think? Do you think that guy busted him? Huh? What do you think? It sure seemed like it. Like, why didn't they just kind of put the pile of rocks somewhere else? You know? And then it sure felt like they were being busted. It did. It felt like they were being busted to me. Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think. Yep, we got a unanimous there. Yeah, we're in agreement on that. There you go. See, life is interesting. Timing. Right place, right time. He was in the right place, right time. Who knows? Maybe he saved some lives. Okay, I'm going to play you 2 more videos, and then I'm going to get on out here. But if it had been in the States, he would have been tased. You're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, they were totally busted. All right, I'm going to play you another video, and it is, to me, one of the most disturbing videos that I've seen post George Floyd. I almost don't have words to express this thing. It see, I'm like, they can usually like connect a few sentences together. This one is a tough one for me on so many levels. I'm gonna play it for you. Be warned, it is graphic without being violent, at least on a visceral level. Okay. All right. And then I'm gonna do a little commentary, and I promise I'm gonna play you a good video before we leave. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that guy held the space, didn't he? He did a good job holding that space. Really, really good job. Okay, where's this thing? I think it's on the other browser. Hold on a second. I got so much shit open on my computer. Damn, I may have moved it off here. Hold on. If I did, I'm just gonna. All right, I'm gonna roll with it. Let me instead of playing you the video, I'm going to describe the video, and then I'm gonna play a different video. So this video is in Michigan, and there's a woman, and who happens to be so-called white. She's at a convenience store. She's with either her father or maybe it's her husband, who might be older. Clearly, the woman is pregnant. Okay, quarantine. Very good, Triple M. Pregnant. Now, supposedly, she bumped one of the so-called black women inside the store, which I don't think she did. This woman's pregnant. Okay, she's pregnant. If you're a pregnant woman, you do not put yourself in risky or dangerous situations. You just don't do that. There's a whole psychological biology that takes over. Anyway, these women start to have a beef with her, and they're beefing her hard, really hard. And she gets inside. It's like one of those crossover things. The guy just says, hey, and you know, they're letting her have it. Racist this, racist that, racist this, racist that. And the guy comes over and basically says, hey, why don't you just fuck off? Just stop it. Leave it alone. Stop it. And, you know, they're saying he's a racist. And again, I hate the stereotyping, but I have to be clear in my in the narrative here. Be true to the narrative, right? So she rolls her window down and she really tries to reason with these people and even apologizes slightly. Says, look, you know, there was a bit of like conscious, like you could save some face moment with these two women. And then she rolls the window up. And then that's when things get heavy. That's when things get heavy. They start to pummel, as they're pulling out, they start to pummel their kind of crossover. They get behind it to stop them from leaving, which is a new tactic now. And this pregnant woman gets out of the car and just, you know, stares him down with a 9mm. And I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. Here is a pregnant woman scared shitless because she's got a kid, right? And she pulls a gun out. She pulls a gun out because she's scared. And these other women, now their tune changed a little bit. Not a lot, but it changed a little bit. Now they wanted the police. To come. But the look on the woman's face who had to pull the gun was terrifying. I kind of felt bad for everybody, but that woman, I felt really bad for her. She should not be doing that. She shouldn't be have to, you know, and life is a conscious experience. It's a conscious experience. You know, there's a baby inside of that woman who's growing, who's now that moment is a part of that baby's genetic code, right? It's bad. And some people say, well, you know, they have to deal with that every day, you know, in the ghetto or in black neighborhoods. And maybe that's true. Or they have to deal with some version of it, right? But this is not going to solve anything. It's not going to solve that condition. And it's certainly not going to help improve any kind of. Do you think now that woman who, and we all have what I would call inborn prejudice. We do. In prejudices, I may like something more than another thing, you know, or I may say in my mind, you know, I want this thing, I don't want that thing. We could have a prejudicial point of view. And sometimes it spills over into how we view people. And I think everybody has prejudice. But if you have prejudice, it doesn't mean you're racist. The two are mutually exclusive. Just like I said, how bigotry does not mean you're racist. You could have a bigoted point of view, but you don't have to be a racist. And sometimes the two converge and sometimes they don't. You could be bigoted over people that are theoretically less intelligent or poor people if you've got a lot of money. You know, it's not always in terms of race. So we all have an inborn prejudice. That is, I think, a fact. Whatever they are, and everybody's got them, whatever they are. But how do you think that woman who had to pull the gun today or yesterday or the day before, whenever that happened, how do you think she feels now about those women and theoretically the group that those women represent? Is that going to bring them any closer together? I don't think so. And people have talked about this, and Tim Pool has talked about this. And look, I'm just sitting here. I'm a 60-year-old so-called white Caucasian American male. I'm a spirit having a human experience, but this is not what that group wants. It is not. They may think that they want it, but I can tell you right now, like if you look at what's happening in California, and they're doing this whole decoupling with affirmative action and everything. And even Tim Pool talks about how removing Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben, and you know that they're actually removing a part of, you know, that community's history. They're essentially they're essentially being involved in a version of their own genocide, and they don't even know it at this point, which is, I think, really dangerous. Because it shows how myopic we can get, and and when we get like incredibly myopic, we have real tunnel vision, we can't really see what's going on around us. And the impact and the effect of our actions might be actually incredibly deleterious and the exact opposite of what we're trying to accomplish. So, all right. I'm going to play. All right, let me see if I get my mother right here. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see if she'll come out here. All right. I just texted her. We'll see what happens. Yeah, we live in a time of like, we shit. Instead of tearing at each other's throats, we've got to be coming together. We've got to be really bonding together because they want to take this world that we're living in and just completely dismantle it. And these people do not know what's coming. They do not know what's coming. So instead of actually coming together and pulling together for that, we're at each other's throats. All right, here she is. Make sure you shut that door when you come out. Okay, let me unplug here. Okay, here she is. Come on over. Say hi to everybody. Just step right in there.
Hello.
Come on, get in the camera space.
Hello. How's everybody?
So this is my mother. This is Kathy.
How are you?
So
glad to meet everybody.
And you can see people right here,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is so exciting. Yeah, I'm unmuted now, right? Yeah, I'm unmuted now.
Okay.
Okay, so how are you feeling today?
Feeling fine.
Right. So tell everybody what you've done since you've been here.
Got my nails done, pedicure, and my hair.
So we had to make her look good for the state of Texas. She's been in the California gulag for the last 3 or 4 months. Right. So how's it feel being here?
Lovely. Enjoyable.
You want to ask my, hold on, don't go away. You want to ask her any, hold on. You want to ask her any questions?
Sounds good.
You want to ask her any questions for my mom? Let's see if the chat room has any questions for you. Hold on. We got a Californian here. We're in California. She lives in a secret location in Walnut Creek. Secret location, Walnut Creek. You got any questions for my mom before she goes back in and enjoys the air conditioning? She's funny. They say you're funny.
You think I'm funny? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, nice meeting you all, and have a good day.
Tell us a great Robert as a kid story. You got a story about me?
Let me think about it. How about when he used to go up the hill in those crazy little plastic bikes?
Okay, you want
come racing down the hill.
You want to tell them a story? I was 16 years old, and I would steal those big wheels, those plastic big wheels that were being left out overnight.
You and your friends.
And what would I do with those?
You go way up the top of this hill that could see all over the county and race down the hill in the dark of night. And then one day the police caught you.
Okay, that's enough, Mom. Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay, there you go.
Oh.
She had to think about it. I know, right? She had to think about it.
Well, I couldn't thought about it.
But that displayed my rather mercurial nature at the age of 16. Okay, I'm going to play one more video, and I am going to plug back in again.
Okay, Rosie.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you, Rob. I got to get Rosie out of the room.
Just open the door.
Hi, Rose.
Okay.
Can't go out, baby.
Let me do this. Okay, it looks like I'm good again. All right. And all right, we're all good. Yeah, so it was in San Jose, California. And let's just say, well, in altered states, we would cruise around and liberate some big wheels from a few yards. And there was a giant hill called Suncrest Boulevard. Went all the way up into the hill, and we'd shred the tires on these big wheels. Oh, you missed Jasper. Okay, I'm gonna fix the environment. He'll be back out here. So there you go. There's that story. All right. We can learn a lot from nature. A lot from nature. And I'm gonna play you a video that I think will touch your heart. And we need some real innocence and purity. And the spirit of this video is meant to portray that. Before I play the video, I got two things I want to announce. Number one, Penny Kelly will be on the show tomorrow, and she'll be. And I don't know how long she's going to be on, but she'll be on the show. And I don't know if she's going to be on for an hour. Maybe we'll have the Crimmies come on in the second half of the show, since they know a lot about Penny. We'll figure that out. But Penny Kelly will be here tomorrow, 12 noon. The other thing is that I want you to join me tomorrow with a very special ritual that you can all take part in at home. It's a very simple ritual, but it has something to do with the spirit of burning draft cards, burning bras, burning flags. Paulette, what do you think? Let's just say, I think that some of those kids were very happy that they got new big wheels a couple days after that. I know it'll be part of the past life review, but trust me, it's only a minor part. So we've got bras, draft cards, even American flags. Tomorrow we will have our own 4th of July freedom ritual, where I will burn a symbol of our time right here before you. And I will ask you to join with me in burning a symbol of our time. And you know the symbol that I'm talking about. It's quite ubiquitous. Everybody's wearing it. So there we go. Join me tomorrow. Participate. Bring your own version, like having your own bra, like having your own draft card, or God forbid, your own American flag. And let us liberate ourselves from the symbols of tyranny and restraint. Okay, I'm going to play this video now. And I'm just going to play it. When I'm done, I'm done. You're going to love this video. Open your heart. I have to make sure I got this. I always do this shit. Hold on. One more minute. Here we go. Hold on. Here it is. All right. Away we go. I don't want to miss this. It's a good moment. Here we go. Hold on. Here we go.
Is sponsored by
Ugh.
In case you like through thick dog and
Let's try it again. I'm gonna reload this thing. Hold on. It's worth it. Trust me. I'm bumming on this. I want to play this video of this friendship between this dog and this cow. And this damn thing is just like spinning and spinning and spinning. Here we go. Let's try it. Try one more time. If not, I'll just leave the link in the show page. You guys can watch it. It's worth watching. Here we go.
Friendship is being there with someone through tough times.
sure is, but just in case you need a reminder of what best friends look like through thick and thin, well, Galen Culver brings us the story of a dog and calf. You just have to see.
Her backyard is a convalescent home.
Oh, come on.
A bottle every morning for her one.
Bottle. They worked with her for.
Oh, this sucks. Just trying to play this video. Damn it. This cow is a downer. I don't know what a downer cow is. But this cow was born, I think,
Born.
Like the legs on this cow are all messed up. And this dog is a failed cattle dog. Every time the guy took the dog out, he would throw up in the truck. But he's totally bonded with this cow that is having a very, very difficult time of life right here. Anyway, it's just spinning, and I apologize. I don't know why. Normally I can play videos pretty well. Here, I'll just give you a little glimpse of what lies ahead. And you can see there's the dog. He's totally into the cow. Loves his cow. That's his best friend. This poor cow is just trying very hard to stay alive and keep it together.
The response was overwhelming.
And apparently they have a GoFundMe page. There they are together. There it is.
Snapshot.
There they are. You see that? He loves this little cow. There they are again.
9.
Like there's a children's book in here somewhere. Look at that. Look at that.
Never seen two, you know.
That's his failed cattle dog. Okay, you guys get the story. You understand. I apologize for the glitchy. I don't know why it's called glitchy. Anyway, I'll leave the link in there, right? So, I mean, that's shit. Those animals have a story. They have a story to teach us, right? They have a story to teach us and a story to tell us. And if we pay attention and pay close attention to it, like those animals are more human than the humans I've been seeing lately. You know, more human than the humans I've been seeing. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow with Peggy, Penny Kelly, maybe the Crimmies. Find out. Yeah, it's so there's a lot of use going on with the Wi-Fi. Thanks everybody for being a part of today's show. Thanks for being here a little on the late side. Shout out to Tanner, right there, Tanner. And that's about it. Use your head to discern what's real, your heart to set what's possible. Thanks for being a part of it. Friday Farcast tomorrow and Sunday Night Astro Live, and we're probably going to have a 4th of July to remember. Take care.